This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. On the banks of the Ohio, it's our first visit to the Great American Ballpark. And tonight, it's game number 1, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. Jim Hayes is here. That's Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. The Cardinals offense sputtering a bit at the beginning of this season. We'll see if they can't get it going starting tonight.
Yeah, nice to see if we can get the first 3 in the order to get them on base, get them going, and then late in the ball game, see if they can't add on. And Michael Wacha could sure use some extra run support.
Michael Wacha gets the call tonight for the St. Louis Cardinals. Sal Romano will go for the Cincinnati Reds. Wacha, very good numbers against the Reds. And baseball is coming up. A rough start, 2 wins to 9 losses. And the Cardinals are 5-7 in the young season. Guys having a little fun as we get set for baseball. The Cardinals lineup features Dexter Fowler at the top, followed by Tommy Pham, and then Matt Carpenter. Marcell Ozuna, 10-game hitting streak on the line. Jose Martinez, Yadier Molina, Paul DeJong, Colton Wong, and the pitcher Michael Wacha. Sal Romano and his numbers this year earned a no decision on Saturday. 4 runs over 5 innings and a 7-4 win over the Pirates, and that, Al, was the Reds' most recent win.
Yeah, big kid, signed out of high school, Connecticut, who was actually enrolled and ready to go to school at the University of Tennessee before he made his contract with the Reds. Dan, this is his 7th year in professional baseball, and he's never had a winning record. 19 games under 500 in the minor leagues, and you wonder why he's going to come up here and all of a sudden win.
Big guy, 6'5", as you mentioned, 270 pounds. Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers around the horn. Jesse Winkler in left field. Billy Hamilton, he's been a Gold Glove finalist the last 4 years. He's in center. Philip Ervin in right. Alex Blandino, the third baseman. Jose Peraza at short. Scooter Gennett at second. Adam Duvall gets the start at first. No Joey Votto. And Tucker Barnhart, the Gold Glove winner a season ago, is behind the plate. Let's turn to Al's Toyota, keys to the game.
Well, Michael Wacha has had a lot of success against Cincinnati. You just want that to continue. 8-1, and if you go back to 2015, he's 7-0. So Michael Wacha just needs to continue to dominate against them. Thank goodness Joey Votto is not in the lineup today, because he's been a force not only against Wacha but all Cardinal pitchers.
And against all pitchers, period.
Yeah.
Really surprising not to see him in the lineup, and Brian Price said it's just a day off. There's no injury concern. Wanted to give him a little rest. First pitch was a strike to Fowler, and that pitch taken high.
Whatever the reason, Dan, we're happy for it. But they did play 12 innings last night in Philadelphia, so probably got in late or early this morning. So I think it's perfect for him to have a day off.
Absolutely. We agree. They got to the ballpark at around 2:30 in the morning to pick up their cars, return home, get a little rest, and back at it tonight. The 2-1 pitch, 2-2 on Dexter Fowler. It's 79 degrees here in Cincinnati. Beautiful night for baseball. Haven't said that very often.
And it's actually going to be very warm again tomorrow, but then a lot of rain over the weekend.
A check swing and a foul ball.
And good luck in the temperatures in Chicago.
It is going to be cold. Very, very cold in Chicago. As you mentioned, rain in the forecast Saturday and Sunday. So we'll take the beautiful skies and sunshine and warm temperatures tonight. The 2-2. Our esteemed director, Tom Mee, showed our flags here at the ballpark. Fairly steady right now, but this afternoon, boy, it was blowing hard in the city. Wind was gusting. There's a base hit for Dexter Fowler into center field. Let's take a look at the Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks in the 3-2 pitch to Fowler.
Set up away, hits away, but it's up in the zone, and Dexter does a nice job taking it right back where it came from, out to the center field. A lot of the Cardinal averages really down on the homestand. They've only won one series, and that was in Milwaukee, 1 of 4.
You mentioned in the open a real key. The first 3 guys in this lineup, in particular, Fowler and Carpenter, trying to get things going and give Ozuna and Martinez a chance to drive them in.
And really, when you think about it, and Tommy Pham kind of surviving there at 256, but Dexter well under 200. Same thing for Carpenter. But Ozuna's, his average is really good with runners on. So get on ahead of him, and then when he doesn't clean up, we'll let Martinez do it.
The 0-1 pitch. Pham slowly hit towards third, gloved by Blandino, and Fowler advancing to second base. Brings in Matt Carpenter. Boy, the Reds are banged up right now. Anthony DeSclafani, an oblique issue. Brandon Finnegan, biceps, so he is not in their rotation. He did make a start 3 days ago. Eugenio Suarez, thumb issue. He's not available. He had 13 RBIs in 16 games against the Cardinals last year. And then the elbow situation with Scott Schebler, who had 6 home runs against the Cardinals last year.
Yeah,
all of them out.
Both those guys were injured. The offense, we're all accustomed to seeing starting pitching be out. But now you take out a couple of their big bats, and as we said, Botto not in a lineup. It's one of the weakest lineups we've seen the Reds produce for quite a while, because they can hit usually.
The Cardinals in the last 2 days, 1 for 18 with runners in scoring position. Fowler, your runner at second base. Matt Carpenter has drawn a team high 11 walks, and he saw his 11 game on base streak end yesterday in the loss against Milwaukee, the day game. Cardinals made it interesting late. It came up short, and the 2-0 pitch now to Carpenter. 3-0.
Carpenter in the 3-hole, but he's still acting like a leadoff hitter with those walks. You know, he's not going to expand the zone, and I think after hitting 241 a year ago, he's going back to his style of hitting, which is, you know, hitting a lot of line drives in the gaps, getting a lot of doubles, and on base, high on base percentage.
3-1.
The home runs will happen. You know, usually you're doing yourself a disservice by trying to hit home runs. Just try and hit the ball hard, and then on occasion they're going to make a errant pitch in a location they don't want. That's where you're going to pick up your home runs.
3-1 pitch to Carpenter. And a full count. Romano tonight is 10th start in his career at home. 3-5, ERA near 5. Last year, the Reds had 16 different starters that they used. Tied with the Twins, one behind the Mariners for the most starters used last season. And the 3-2 pitch to Carpenter. Hit out of play. Highest ERAs in Reds team history. 5.17 a year ago. So far this year, it's above 6.
Yeah. And you know, the one thing too, Dan, is it just seems like some of the same guys every year end up on the disabled list. So, you know, just kind of repeating history.
Here's a 3-2 pitch again to Carpenter. He draws the walk. Number 12 this year for Matt Carpenter. And 2 runners on for Marcell Ozuna. The BJC Healthcare difference maker Marcell Ozuna had a 9th inning single to keep his hitting streak alive at 10 yesterday. And pretty good numbers this year with runners on.
Just all of a sudden he just changes his attitude or whatever the deal is. His eyes light up and he's ready to hit with guys in scoring or on base. And let's hope that holds true. Both these starters have a little trouble in the first inning.
And a ball inside to Ozuna.
And when you're pitching behind the count, you know, you're just asking for trouble.
Ozuna, as we have seen, even on outs, sometimes they are loud outs. Hits the ball hard. Average exit velocity of 96 miles per hour. Fourth best. Yeah, fourth best in baseball. Ohtani, the best.
I saw that.
How about that? The pitcher and hitter. He's at 98. The 1-0 pitch lifted in the air out to left center field. Billy Hamilton is over and makes the catch.
Obviously, the Reds are banged up right now and missing some key parts, but Dan, you're going to have to just absolutely dominate against like the Reds, and of course the biggest surprise in the Central Division now is the Pirates. They beat the Cubs again today 6-1. But you're going to have to beat up on these clubs that are acknowledging they're in retooling or rebuilding phases.
I would take it even further. Your interleague play this year is the American League Central. Detroit rebuilding. The Chicago White Sox rebuilding. You know, those types of teams.
We got the Cleveland, though. They're going to be a handful.
Minnesota. Here's Jose Martinez. And a strike. Martinez had 2 walks yesterday and leads the Cardinals with a .391 on base percentage. And that's a base hit into right field. Here comes Fowler. Bobbled by Irvin in right. Fowler will score, and with that, Carpenter to third, and the throw is errant there. And it's 1-0 St. Louis here on the top of the first on a 2-out RBI by Jose Martinez.
Jose can hit, and we see it once again. Drilling that ball to the right side and through. Fowler was going to score, but heads up base running by Carpenter. After he saw the bobble in right field, he felt like he could go on, gets himself into third base. But all starts here, just rifling it into right field. Irvin's got a strong throwing arm, but he misconnects on the ball. Now he'll fire it all the way to third base, but it's offline.
And an error on Phillip Ervin, his first of the year. Here's Yadier Molina. Molina sat out yesterday, served his 1-game suspension. He's a .319 career hitter at this ballpark. The 1-0 pitch. The GMC leaderboard, Molina .319. This is at this ballpark. Shin Soo Choo played here 1 year. Pujols some memorable moments, and Scooter Gennett.
He's had some memorable hits in this ballpark. Yachty has. Remember, the first of his 4 career Grand Slams was here.
Opening day, I believe.
Opening day, yes, it was.
2-1 the count on Yadier Molina. Runners at first and third. 1-0 St. Louis. One thing we have seen thus far, not to say that that was a strike, but it does seem to be a fairly tight zone here from the crew chief, Bill Miller, behind the plate.
Well, you could play that, replay that soundbite in every game, couldn't you?
Seems that way, doesn't it?
And as I said, they try to speed up the games, call strikes.
3-1 now, 3-2. Romano averaging 96 miles an hour on his fastball, and you normally would say, or at least in years past, that's a big deal. 96 miles an hour. Now it's about the secondary pitches, because so many of these hitters have adapted to hitting a fastball. Just can't put it by a guy.
So true. Better have some movement on it, location.
A 3-2 pitch. Up the middle and a base hit. Right back at Romano. Run scores. That's Carpenter, and it's 2-0 Cardinals on a pair of back-to-back 2-out base hits. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
7th RBI. Look at the ball up over the middle of the plate, and he just rifles it back. And Romano, as you said, 6'5", 270, and somehow he got out of the way of that. Keep on piling on.
It was the third full count already in this ball game. Cardinals have 2 hits and a walk when they've gone 3 and 2.
You know, one of them is going to be Carpenter.
And he walked. Your guess probably would have been, out of that group of 3 who walked, you'd say, Carpenter.
Carpenter. And it was after a full count.
So here's Paul DeYoung.
He could get Paul going. Had the day off yesterday. Hopefully that'll jumpstart him.
And he looks at a strike. A lot of strikeouts, 19 to lead the club. He's made contact with just 56% of the pitches he swung at this year, lowest percentage in all of baseball. And yet you look and you say, okay, that's disturbing a little bit. He's hitting .295 with 3 home runs and has driven in 5.
Right. But you can just tell he's getting a little frustrated with the strikeouts. And so probably a mental day of rest yesterday should do him wonders.
Here's a 1-1. DeYoung with a little flare into shallow right, and Irvin is there to make the catch. Cardinals get a walk, 3 hits, and a pair of 2-out RBIs. Michael Wacha to the mound when we come back. He's 1-1 this season. Wind chill was 29 degrees in his last start. He walked a career high 5 for just the 3rd time. It was the lowest temperature, by the way, ever recorded for a Cardinals game in St. Louis. A look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal. The fastball, changeup, slider, and curve. The lineup of Billy Hamilton, Peraza, and Winker. Duvall, Jeanette, Irvin, Barnhart, Blandino, and Romano, the pitcher, batting 9th. It's presented by Buick. The switch hitter, Billy Hamilton, just 2 for 22 against the Cardinals starter. Al mentioned really good numbers from Michael Wacha against the Reds, 8-1. As a matter of fact, the Cardinals have won his last 10 starts that he's made against Cincinnati.
One of the keys is you have to keep Hamilton off base, and then with Irvin, another base stealing threat. So far, left-handed batters have been no problem. What was it, batting 100 against Michael Wacha, but the righties have really given him trouble. But I'm sure warmer weather will change things.
Lefties just 2 for 19 this year against Michael Wacha. 3-0 the count. Reds come in having lost 4 straight. They've scored only 9 runs in those games. Leadoff walk. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler in the outfield. Carpenter, DeYoung, Wong, and Martinez on the infield. Yadier Molina behind the plate. Michael Wacha on the mound. And that's a look at your defense for St. Louis. Here's Peraza, 4 for his last 12.
Lost the second base job last year to Jeanette. Now playing shortstop with Cozart, signing with the Angels as a free agent.
The game within the game, and that's Billy Hamilton and Yadier Molina. Yadi's gotten him 3 times.
That's been most recent. Remember, he was in the 20s without being caught at all by Molina, and that's really not a accurate position because a lot of times you're stealing off the pitcher. And the one thing, usually when you're got a tall pitcher like Wacha is, they're a little slower to the plate.
Started out with 5 straight balls, and there's his first strike tonight.
So you have to pay attention. You know, you try to combat the base stealing with a slide step, but a lot of times a slide step, it's something different, and you don't have the same command. A lot of times you leave the ball up high in the zone.
He is leaning towards second at first base and back in safely. Overall, he is 27 of 31 against the Cardinals. Billy Hamilton, third most steals behind Pittsburgh and Chicago, the teams, the time period that he's been up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Base hit into right field. Barely fair. Over to get it, Fowler. And his throw will come back into the infield to Yadier Molina. It'll be a double for Peraza. Barely fair off the bat of Peraza.
Just see it there. It goes slice into the right field corner. Fowler gets over and cuts it off, but Hamilton with that great speed is tied with Buxton for the best speed in baseball right now. It's about 31 feet per second.
31 feet per second?
Well, no, it can't be per second, yeah. Unless it's one of those real long seconds.
I was going to say, he's incredible.
Yeah, we might say he's got world-class speed. But we're timing with a sundial.
Jesse Winker puts the ball in play, but foul. Walker's career Archaea drive to success against Cincinnati. 8-1 and a 2.31 ERA, and I'm sure he looks up third spot in the lineup and no Joey Votto. Votto hit 382 with 6 extra base hits off of Michael Wacha. Fought off and a base hit into left field. 1 run will score and it gets by Ozuna. This game is tied and Winker stops at second base. Took a little tricky op on Marcell Ozuna there as he was going to come up firing and try to catch Peraza at the plate. Take a look.
Yeah, it's a little unusual to see a bad bounce out there in the outfield grass, but right there. And goes over his outstretched glove. Well, let's start all over, Dan.
Cardinals appealing with the runner at third to no avail. So an error side. Cardinals had 3 hits in the top of the first. Cincinnati with 2. Go along with a walk. We're tied up at 2-2. Here's Adam Duvall. Duvall is just 4 for 37 to start this season. It's a 108 average and 16 strikeouts.
You also know that if you make a mistake, and you could drill one out of here real easy.
Does have 2 home runs of the 4 base hits thus far this year.
Wacha came in with first inning troubles. In his first 2 starts, he's allowed 3 runs, 4 walks and a strikeout before today. After that, he settles in and pitches very effectively.
1-1 pitch, blown away. There's only 9 runs scored by the Reds as you get a look at those first inning issues. 9 runs, having dropped 4 straight. They have a total of just 34 runs scored on the year. Only the Royals and Giants with fewer. So they're not pitching well. ERA is above 6, not scoring runs, and you get the idea. It's a bad combination. Only 2 wins.
Well, they've had 3 straight seasons of losing 90 games. Been in last place for a while. And I think the one thing, Dan, is Cardinals did win the series last year, but only by 1 game.
The 2-2 misses in. Under fire right now, Brian Price, and he said, I'm not reading newspapers, not listening to talk radio. A .422 winning percentage, as he was the pitching coach for Dusty Baker, then took over as the manager. 3-2 the count on Adam Duvall. Hit sharply to third, picked there by Carpenter, and that's the first out. Brings in Scooter Gennett. The Reds did have some thump in that lineup a year ago. They had 6 different players with 20 or more home runs, and Gennett with 27 a year ago.
Yeah, how about remember early June against the Cardinals? He had a 4 home run game.
He had an exceptional year. Released by Milwaukee, very end of spring training. Picked up by the Mets. He was born here, and then his family moved to Sarasota, Florida when he was 9. In the game that you're talking about, there's the home run leaders, but he had 5 hits, 4 home runs, and drove in 10. And he wound up with 97 driven in last year.
He had 4 grand slams last year.
0-2 the count.
Remember, it was supposed to be Peraza was supposed to be the second baseman, and he just took the job away from him.
97 RBIs. Not
Second
shabby.
Baseman.
Yep. Nothing at 2 the count. Walker looking for his first strikeout. He gets it with the fastball at 96.
Throws it right by Gennett.
And the batter is Phillip Ervin, hitting 188. He was the 27th overall pick in 2013 out of Samford University. Highest pick ever out of that school, which is located in Homewood, Alabama. He's never faced Michael Wacha. Tonight his 4th start of the year. He's one of the 5 Reds rookies to make the opening day roster. One ball, 1 strike. The 10 starts for Michael Wacha. Only twice have the Reds scored more than 2 runs against him. There's a good changeup, 1-2.
And one of the reasons why he's had such success in this ballpark is he doesn't give up home runs. Change up there, keeps that change up down. He'll fool a lot of hitters.
1-2, back to Michael Wacha. Makes the catch. Reds strand a runner, but they tie it up. 2-2 after 1. Presented by T-Mobile. A strike to Colton Wong, underway here in inning number 2. A lot of fans disguised as seats tonight. Not much of a crowd. Weather-related postponements. There's already been 11 this far on Major League Baseball, which matches the total in all of April last year. Some cold weather leading into spring. And Wong strikes out. Would be the first strikeout for Sal Romano. In steps Michael Wacha, 0 for 4 to start this year. First pitch is strike 2, Wacha.
And now the strike zone seems like it's gotten a little bigger, doesn't it?
Yes. So the Reds have lost 10 of their first 12 games. First time since 1955 that has happened, to have this kind of slow start. Rebuilding and then the injuries, and that also is a very tough combination. Key players are out. The 1-1. It's a 4-game series beginning tonight between these two clubs. And Monday will be at Wrigley Field for the first of 3 against Chicago. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
Dan, it didn't help that the first 3 games of the season were against Washington and their pitching staff.
Cardinals could say the same thing with the Mets, who are 10-1 to start this year. The 2-2. The strikeout of Waka. Back-to-back Ks for Romano. Talk about trying to get the top of the order going. 1, 2, and 3 in the lineup, and their ranks in terms of batting average by lineup spot. And it has been primarily Fowler, Pham, and Carpenter. Not a lot of movement in Mike Matheny's lineup this year, and that may change as we go along this season.
I think it's a good sign. You know, and your bench guys, they know that they're bench guys. Also means that we're not really dealing with serious injuries, you know, like Jose Martinez got banged up the other day, but just missed 1 game.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. And it also tells you that Mike Matheny is going to let it play out, whether it's the remainder of this series or road trip or the first month, but let them try to hit themselves out of it. Little funk to start this year. 3-1 on Fowler. Base hit to center and scored on an RBI hit from Jose Martinez. And the 3-1 is popped up left side. Peraza going out, called off by Jesse Winkler, and the catch is made. With more on Paul, let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, no one was happier to see the Cards' recent homestand come to an end than Paul DeJong. He was just 3 for 22, had 12 strikeouts as well. Paul got off to that red-hot start on the Cards' first road trip, and Paul told me that's actually the root of the problem. 2 home runs in New York, 1 in Milwaukee. He told me those were accidents. Home runs to left, it got me trying to pull everything. He said his swing got out of whack. I was looking inside. My shoulders were flying open. It wasn't good. Danny told me he has made the adjustment. He's worked on, as he put it, staying through the ball and driving it to right center. No more trying to cheat on inside pitches. Paul says that's not what he should be doing.
Yeah, talking to Paul, and all of us were listening to him about the approach against him, and that's pitching in. We'll see as he goes along, and he did this last year, was able to make the adjustment.
Well, he hit 25 home runs after hitting 13 in the minor leagues. Came up in late May.
Missed inside to Barnhart, 3-2. Michael Waka walked 1 in the first. Gave up a pair of hits. A couple of runs came around to score. 3-2 pitch, and Barnhart grounds it to Colton Wong. And there's 1 away. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with the MLB.TV app. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium. Visit MLB.TV for details. Here's Alex Blandino. In the air out to right. Wong over, and it's Fowler in foul territory with the catch.
Dex just kind of glides to the ball, and as a second baseman or an infielder, you keep on going until you hear you're called off. But good thing there's a little communication right at the end, and you see he starts to get out of the way. Oh, he's got at least a foot taller.
There's Sal Romano, 0 for 3 this year. He does have 1 major league hit, and that was a double. And there's strike one. It's a Reds team that went 68-94 a year ago. Finished 5th in the Central. 3rd straight year of 90+ losses. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
A 3rd straight year in the cellar of the Central Division. And yet, coming into the season, their owner, Castellano, thought they'd be in contention this year.
The strikeout for Michael Wacha. His second. Pham Carpenter Ozuna coming up. Percent MLB verified tickets till first pitch or sell your extras to another fan. Get the StubHub app today. StubHub, an official partner of your St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals got 2 in the top of the first. Reds answered with 2 in the bottom. And it's 2-2 as we move to the 3rd. Tommy Pham, a 9th inning home run yesterday. That was already the 10th run that he has scored this season. His second home run, he grounded out to 3rd first time up and looks at a strike.
Seemed like it took a long time for that replay.
Too long.
Way too long for something that was pretty obvious.
For those that missed it, and many did, there's a back wall that is behind the wall that is there on the field, if you will, and sometimes there's a little confusion with that to the naked eye, but not in replay. Ground ball is short, and Pham is the first out, and he's 0 for 2. Brings in Carpenter, who walked and scored back in the 1st inning.
Mono has retired 5 Cardinals in a row. Wacha's retired 6, so both these starters struggled in the 1st and maybe settling in a little bit.
So 1 out and nobody on. The Cardinals 10 road games against the Reds last year. You may remember this, but the first 5 games, very little offense, to the point that the Cardinals, after the second time through, made coaching changes when the club got back to St. Louis. Here's the 0-1. And then the last 5 games, the Cardinals scored 42 runs as they dominated the season series on the tail end.
Yeah, they lost the first 5 and then they won the second 5 to have a 10-9 record against the Reds. 8 runs a game, you're supposed to win, and they did last year.
Here's the 0-2 in the dirt.
You looked at the game yesterday, the start by Wainwright. You know, he gives up 3 runs in 7 innings, went 91, 90 pitches. You know, this team with this offense, you're supposed to win those games.
Only 90 pitches to complete 7 innings for Wainwright.
Gave up 2 solo shots and 1 other run. But if the Cardinals have the offense they think they have, they're supposed to win those games.
There's a look at Adam Wainwright. Miles Michael is there on the left. 3rd strikeout for Sal Romano. Kubota Power Stats brings us to Marcell Ozuna. Exit velocity, Ohtani at 98, and 4th best, Marcell Ozuna. As he looks at a strike, he came up with runners at 1st and 2nd in the 1st inning and fly to shallow center. No walks yet this year for Ozuna. He had a 9th inning single, kept his hitting streak alive at 10 coming into play tonight. Ozuna with a high fly ball lifted into deep left center field and gone. Marcell Ozuna, his 2nd home run. Looking forward to seeing the exit velocity on that one. 3-2 Cardinals on a long home run by Marcell Ozuna.
11-game hitting streak for Ozuna. What was it? Pitch inside. It kind of looked like he didn't like it. Set up away, and the ball right down the middle of the plate. Drifts right over the middle, and he can turn on it. And as you said, that exit velocity, 4th best in the. Probably went up a little tick, too.
And a ball low and outside to Jose Martinez. Ozuna now with 8 driven in this season and his 2nd Cardinal home run.
Just thinking about his former teammate, Stanton, who was the National League MVP. In New York, they kind of like it when he hits home runs, but they have reacted a different way on strikeouts, haven't they?
He has had 2 5-strikeout games, and he's heard it from the folks in the Bronx. But he knew what he was getting into.
Well, you hope he would.
Yep. I don't know if you saw this, but the Marlins, their AA team, outdrew the Major League team last night.
Well, I know you were talking about the other day. Something about 3,500 or so in Marlins game.
It's a shame.
It's hard to blame those fans down there.
No question.
In their mind, they've been betrayed at least 3 times.
Yep.
2 times the fire sales after winning a world championship, and then this year with the new ownership stripping it of its best teammates, or the best team, best players.
In the air out to deep right field. Irvin back near the wall, and he caught it. Nice play by Phillip Ervin in right. Not sure that would have been a home run, but certainly an extra base hit. This one, he couldn't get to. A long one off the bat of Marcell Ozuna. 3-2 Redbirds. Makes his living as a pitcher, then coaching pitchers. And Brian Eversgerd and some of the guys in the bullpen, we noticed, folks in the truck picked this up. We have a camera out there. They keep trying to walk off the distance from the pitching rubber to the home plate area in the bullpen. And clearly they think something is not quite right.
Boy, things have changed in the bullpen. We used to entertain ourselves in a lot better ways than this. But, Major League Baseball does come and check all mounds. I know they do it on the mound in the field. I'm sure they would do it in the bullpens also, but what difference does it make?
Something to keep in mind, the bullpens have switched here. Cardinals are located in left center. The home team is down the right field line, and that's a foul ball that caught Molina. Well, guys are creatures of habit, and I guess, they want to make sure that they're warming up on a mound that's the correct distance. Need Gene Hackman to come in from Hoosiers and measure it out. Hey guys, the rim is 10 feet tall. 60 feet 6 inches here. Hamilton a base hit into left. On base for the 2nd time.
Hamilton just batting 156, walked the first time and scored. Now he gets a ball inside out, slices it into left field. A lot of times you want to elevate the ball and try and get him to hit the ball in the air, but get underneath it and hit a little lazy fly ball. But anytime he's on base, he's a threat to steal.
Joe Morgan is the all-time leader in stolen bases. Reds history, 406. And already Billy Hamilton is 6th all-time, 247. He had 59 last year, 58 the year before. His success percentage rate is 82%. So you get the idea. I mean, the guy is as good as anybody once he gets on and creating havoc.
His problem has been getting on. Not tonight. And you can see Waka mentioned that when you're as tall as Waka is, he's 6'6", You know, usually, as a rule, they're slow to the plate. So you got to do different things. Slide step, you hold the ball, try and take the spring out of the legs of a base stealer, step off.
And the bunt is down, a beauty. Carpenter, bare hands, and not in time. So the first two have reached. It's a base hit for Peraza.
Drops down such an effective bunt. He gets the bonus of the base hit. Does put Hamilton in scoring position.
Now I gotta wonder if more teams are going to do that with Carpenter at third base.
I would think there would be a realistic game plan. His shoulder is much better, his back's better, but because of his arm surgery when he was a collegiate, you know, he just doesn't have the strong throwing arm that you normally think of a third baseman.
Here's Jesse Winker. Joey Votto had started 202 consecutive games. His last day off, ironically, was against the Cardinals September 2nd of 2016. The career .313 hitter and sitting tonight.
And he hit 6 home runs, 17 RBIs against the Cardinals a year ago.
You think about this ball game and your usage of Tyler Lyons, you know, when you bring him in, and Votto, pretty good numbers, by the way, against Lyons, but that's your lone lefty. It's just something to think about latter stages of the game and how Mike Matheny will use his bullpen.
Trust me, Mike Matheny, Maddox, all the pitchers know that he's on that bench.
No doubt. He is now 2 walks away from 1,000 in his career. He'd be the third active player with 1,000 walks. Albert Pujols, Miguel Cabrera, and 2 more away for Joey Votto for 1,000. There's been only one Red that has done that, and that's Pete Rose. What's hard to believe with the struggles of Cincinnati is that Votto, who was a couple of votes shy of the MVP last year behind Giancarlo Stanton, he has no extra base hits to start this year.
And you mentioned he's 2 votes away from the MVP of Stanton, and he's playing on a losing team. But he's that kind of player and hitter. Not a vocal leader as we see him animated, but if all you have to do as a teammate, just follow his lead. Hard worker, and he knows what he's doing in that batter's box.
2-2 the count, nobody out. And you say not a vocal leader. He actually has tried this spring training to be more vocal, and then going into this regular season to be the leader not only by example but also verbally, talking to teammates, helping them out. 3-2 pitch, and he struck him out. Third strikeout from Michael Wacha. The batter is Adam Duvall.
Mike Leake traded from Cincinnati to San Francisco for Duvall. Boy, that's been a good trade for the Reds.
He has won for his last 20. But over the last 3 seasons, including this year, one of only 2 players in all of baseball to have at least 69 doubles, 66 home runs, and over 200 driven in. The other player, Nolan Arenado. So that's production. Hamilton back in safely. base out in front, and Hamilton not going anywhere.
You got Hamilton on base, and you see he throws that ball right in the dirt, tries to backhand it, but does a good job keeping in front of him. And when you keep Hamilton from trying to advance, you know they have the utmost respect for Yachty.
Two balls and no strikes. In the dirt, 3-0, and Scooter Gennett at the on-deck circle. Michael kind of fighting it. He did so in the first inning. Easy second inning, 7, 8, 9 the lineup, and a couple of base hits and a 3-2 strikeout on Winker, and now 3-0 on Adam Duvall. Got to think he's got the green light, even though he's struggling at the plate. Sometimes
Absolutely.
that gets you going.
Yeah, you know, I think people would be shocked how many times players have the green light, and just a manager, I just ask you to be disciplined. You know, look for a pitch in a certain zone. If it's not there, you must strike, take it.
And he draws the walk. That's number 2, issued by Michael Walkup. Inning started with a base hit by Billy Hamilton to left, the bunt hit by Peraza. Winker struck out looking, Duvall the walk, and now Scooter Gennett, Mr. Grand Slam.
It's 5 in his career, and as we said, 4 of them last season.
That's amazing. 4 in one season. And a strike.
I believe that Don Mattingly has a record with 6 in a season.
It was matched by King Griffey Jr.
Yep, that sounds right too.
So the base is loaded and the 0-1 pitch. Last year the ground ball rate was 48.6% for Michael Walkup. You bring that up because you think about the potential of a double play. He had Gennett way out in front with a good changeup, no balls and 2 strikes.
He's got a piece of it.
Cardinals had to make a move today. Sam Tuivailala out with a sore knee. Mike Myers brought back up, and Jim will have more on that in the 4th inning.
Yachty trying to say, keep the ball down, calm down, take a deep breath, give me a good pitch.
Here's the 0-2. Good play again by Molina.
When they bounce that far in front of the plate, you're just at the mercy of the bounce. A lot of times the ball is at the feet of a left-hander, they say is the toughest one. Especially with that breaking ball, a lot of times it'll hit the dirt and spin back the opposite way. But Yachty, great job there to block it with the bases loaded.
The 1-2 to Gennett. Lined and a base hit into right center field. 2 runs will score. And the Reds have the lead at 4-3.
Not exactly the swing that you would teach, but you see him reaching out for it, just getting a piece of it, one-handed flinging the bat at it, and rifles it past Colton Long. 2 runners will score here. That doubles his RBI total for the year to 4.
The 4 runs tonight, 2 scored by Hamilton, the other 2 by Peraza. And it makes it 4-3 Cincinnati. Here's Phillip Ervin. Breaks his bat out to shallow left. Ozuna with the catch. And Duvall not tagging up on that shallow fly. Runners stay put. There's 2 down.
Well, we've talked a little bit about Osuna with his sore arm, but he can throw. It's just he's going to try not to throw it when he doesn't have to. You can see he was in a position to throw that ball home, but when he saw the runner not even tagging up, he just kind of laid it in there for the shortstop. But they say if he has to throw, he has no problem.
Here's Tucker Barnhart. And he looks at a strike. Known for his glove. Became the 3rd catcher in Reds history to pick up a Gold Glove. Did that last year. Johnny Edwards did it in the mid-60s. Won 2. Johnny Bench with 10. Most by a catcher, Pudge Rodriguez. He had 13.
After Johnny Bench, it's Yachty, isn't it? With 8?
8. So Bench with 10 and Yachty 2 away from that. Brooks Robinson, you think about all-time Gold Gloves. He had 16. Jim Cott had 16 too.
I was going to say Cott was right there. And then after Gibson retired and Cott came to the National League, he started winning some more Gold Gloves.
Here's the 0-2. Runner goes. Throw by Yachty. This is a design play, and they've got the runner hung up between 3rd and home, and Molina dropped it. So the runners are safe at 2nd and 3rd.
They give a stolen base to Jeanette. That'll be his first of the year, and obviously the drop ball keeps the Cardinals from getting the 3rd out. See where DeYoung's up in front, so he's trying to do that, and Yachty drops it and spins, and luckily he doesn't throw it away. So he just lost connection when he tried to reach into his glove to catch it.
And now the 1-2 pitch to Barnhart. Up and in. 2-2.
He's become a good little player, hasn't Barnhart?
Sure has.
Hit 270 last year and played that great defense. I know something Yachty has against that Brooksy and Cott and Johnny Bench and all those Pudge Rodriguez don't have. He's got 4 platinum Gold Gloves. Platinum gloves, which is something relatively new. I've only been doing that for about 6 years, and he's got 4 of them, first 4.
And Waka loses. Barnhart had him with 2 strikes. Should be out of the inning. With that, Mike Maddox out to visit. Walk number 3 for Michael.
Well, the walks continue to be a problem, and not that Michael Waka needs to just a breather, a reminder, and don't let that misplay on the play between Yachty and Carpenter. Don't let that bother you. I'm sure he's not going to, but he's got to get this big out. They're 8th place hitter.
Back by popular demand. Don't miss Grateful Dead night at Busch Stadium. That's Friday, April 20th. Purchase of a special theme ticket. Fans receive an exclusive Grateful Dead inspired Cardinals t-shirt. Grateful Dead night tickets are on sale now at cardinals.com/theme.
I like that t-shirt.
Bases loaded. Duvall the walk. Scooter Jeanette, the 1-2 pitch. Base hit to right center that scored 2. Walk to Barnhart. And now Alex Blandino.
Big at bat for many reasons for Blandino. Their number 1 prospect is the 3rd baseman, Nick Senzel.
Senzel, yep.
And he was the number 2 draft pick 2 years ago out of the University of Tennessee. 3rd baseman, great numbers last year. Been keeping him down to not start the clock on him. And I've heard a couple different times, but it could come to the Reds as early as this weekend.
I think they have to keep him down through Friday, and then at that point, if he comes up, it essentially buys them a year. Blandino, the 29th overall pick in 2014. First player to make it through in that draft class to the major leagues was Brandon Finnegan. He did that with Kansas City. And in that draft class, it also included Luke Weaver and Jack Flaherty for the Cardinals. Hits it sharply to third. Carpenter will step on the bag, and the Reds strand the bases loaded, but a big hit by Jeanette, and the Reds have their first lead tonight. Made his debut in the major leagues at the age of 15.
That's right. It was during World War II, and long time here with Cincinnati, and in the broadcast booth, and used to love to go up and talk to him. I remember when he used to throw batting practice for them and then go to the booth, and always said, I want to be like you, Joe, when I grow up.
And you did throw BP and go to the booth.
There's a lot of things I used to do.
Marty Brenneman still with the club there. His microphone on the left. He and Joe worked together for a number of years as Molina flies out to deep right. Phillip Ervin with the catch.
Joe beloved in this town. Really a good guy. You remember him?
Oh, I was doing games when he was doing games. Absolutely.
You get older every year. At least by one.
Al, when we first started, I was a little kid, right?
I thought so.
Now I've grown up a little bit.
I guess all I have to do is ask you how old Luke is. That will tell me.
He's almost 13, my oldest. The only problem with saying that, Al, is that means that you're getting a little older too. As DeYoung hits it too short.
And you'll find out very shortly. Every morning you wake up, you know how old you are.
2 quick outs. The fly out of Molina, ground out by DeYoung, and here's Colton Wong, struck out swinging first time up.
But you know when we used to throw batting practice, like you said, and you could see hitters' weaknesses. You could tell where they liked the ball, where they didn't like the ball.
Would guys ask you to go to a strength or weakness when you were throwing?
Rarely. Rarely. You know, I mean, did have a few guys.
Long, a high chopper that's off the bag. It's cold foul, but boy, I thought that was off the bag.
I thought it hit the bag too. And we'll take the foul ball.
Once it gets past the bag, then it's the call of Angel Hernandez at first base.
Rex Hudler, when he was playing for Montreal, asked me to throw to him one day. And I threw to him before the game. Cardinals, you throw too hard. The ball moves too much. Usually was what 2%. He didn't like to hit off me because the ball moved. I couldn't throw it straight. And so he ended up hitting 2 home runs off of Joe McGrain that night. And I had to interview him after the game. He goes, I own Joe McGrain, but you own me. And I said, don't say that on the air.
And hopefully he stayed away from that. Did you?
He did. Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Rex now the analyst with the Kansas City Royals, for folks that don't know.
And then later he came to St. Louis, played with him, and we had him here and got to experience his love of the game. And you can't say it. I mean, there was like a couple bad years there when he was on the club, and I think in many ways he was the most popular player because of his hustle. And people knew the passion that he had for the game.
And a walk to Colton Wong with Michael Walk on deck. Bring the kids to the ball game on Sunday, April 22nd. That day, all kids 15 and under entering with a ticket receive a Yadier Molina jersey just like the one he wore during Players Weekend. And kids also get a free ticket voucher for a future game. That's compliments of Ritz. Ice Cream Sunday as well. That's all April 22nd. Cardinals.com/promotions. The strike to Waka. It was the second base on balls issued by Romano. 0-2.
Michael Wacha looking for his first hit of the year. Cardinal pitchers, they got a couple guys that swing the bat pretty well.
I was asked earlier, Al, if you had just consumed a mountain of Skyline chili.
No.
We know you love it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I've had people come up to me and that stuff is terrible. I said, I've told you all these years. Don't even get near it. I look at it and get sick.
And Al will be doing the promotional ads for Skyline Chili from here on out. A trip tonight here in Cincinnati, and the Cardinals have made a roster move. Before on that, let's check in with Jim.
Dan, Mike Myers made the Cards out of spring training, was sent to Memphis on Monday. Today he's back with the big club. Myers called it a quick vacation. Sam Tuivailala goes on the 10-day DL with a left knee sprain. Myers recalled. Myers is actually from outside of Columbus. He's never pitched at Great America Ballpark before, and he told me he's excited about it. He said, this is surreal. This is the place I dreamed about playing in. Dan, he told me he saw a ton of games here growing up because his baseball teams played in tournaments in Cincinnati all the time. He actually grew up rooting for the Indians, but Cleveland was too far away for him to get to a lot of games, so he settled on the Reds, and he spent a lot of time in Cincinnati. And I forgot to ask him if he likes Skyline chili. I have failed as a regional cable journalist, Dan.
But you can make up for it, Jimmy, if you bring a little Skyline to Al.
Al wants it?
Absolutely, he does. There it is, Skyline chili.
I'm on my way.
You might be wearing it, Jimmy.
One ball, one strike on Sal Romano, struck out back in the second. 3 strikeouts tonight, 3 walks issued by Michael Wacha. It's been interesting to watch Michael this year because the velocity has been there. He's always good at the beginning of seasons, April and May it seems like. And yet the control not maybe to the level that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I think that's very valid. You know, he had that 5 walks last time out, but that was in the cold game. You know, he's always pitched very well, as you said, in April, and he's always pitched much better at home than on the road. But you look at his stuff, and you can tell physically, you know, he completed the entire season, didn't have those shoulder issues that creeped up a couple years ago. And, you know, just lack of throwing strikes is usually concentration.
You see anything mechanically out of whack at all? They're not fluid?
Not really, because, you know, he throws from that high, exaggerated angle. Sometimes I may not like the fact of, you know, falling off a little bit towards first base. There are times where he really seems to arch his back and release the ball almost like behind his head.
Good changeup. And a strikeout number 4 tonight for Michael. Chevy Fox Tracks, take a look at the changeup here.
Not only the change of velocity, but just, you know, that downward action makes it so effective. When he can keep it away from a hitter like that, I think that's why he's had a lot of success against the left-handed batters this year, because of that changeup. And then his curveball has gotten much better.
And there it is. Here's Billy Hamilton.
This little get-ahead curveball.
Billy Hamilton, at points in time in his career, they've dropped him down to 7 or 8 in the lineup. His on-base percentage against the Cardinals is .291. There's another breaking ball. Parts of 6 seasons now in the big leagues.
I saw Carpenter at third base was playing way in on the grass, trying to take away the bunt. Now with 2 strikes, he moves back.
And the 1-2, a late call and a strikeout of Hamilton. Back-to-back Ks and 5 tonight for Michael Walkup.
See, you can't get in a little groove. You know, a lot of times you'll fight control early in the game, and if you stay with it, there's another good changeup. If you stay with it, you know, eventually it comes to you. And that may be the case here, as he's starting to get his secondary pitches over well.
Here's Jose Peraza, 2 for 2. Double just inside the right field line. And scored on a base hit by Jesse Winker in the first inning. A bunt base hit in the third, and with that, Carpenter playing in and even with the bag at third base. And he'll back up now a step or 2. No balls and 2 strikes.
One thing that Walker's been kind of fighting a little bit early in this game was fastball command.
And that's what it makes me wonder if there's just a little, you know, just a tick off sometimes with a delivery that can make that happen.
Yeah, and then the mere fact that a lot of times he was pitching with speedsters on base that, you know, kind of alter you, rush to the plate.
There's a ground ball. This will be his second 1-2-3 inning. Did that in the second inning. Does it here in the fourth. And we move to the fifth. 4-3 our score. Top of 5. Joe Kelly got a 6-game suspension because of that. Luis Perdomo of San Diego, the former Cardinal, and Nolan Arenado got into it at Coors Field yesterday. So 2 bench clearing brawls. Cardinals had one on Sunday, did not escalate. As Fowler lifts a fly ball out to shallow center. And it drops. That's got to be Billy Hamilton's ball, doesn't it?
Well, you'd like to see a guy like Billy Hamilton. We talked about the fact he's been a finalist for a Gold Glove. He really is an outstanding fielder, but he was content to let his shortstop go back on this ball. It's much easier to catch a ball coming in than going back and trying to catch it over the shoulder. And like you said, right there, when you see a center fielder that's that close to a fielder, he's got to take charge.
Check on Fowler with 1 stolen base this year. It's an error on Peraza, his second this season. The second error tonight for the Reds, and let's see if the Cardinals can't make him pay. Up the middle, base hit for Tommy Pham.
You know this is a base hit by Tommy Pham, and they have charged the error. Just come right up there. Just it's either a double play ball, but not at one of the fielders. It goes on through here in the 5th inning.
Well, this is what we're talking about. The top of the lineup generating some type of offense. And with that base hit, Tommy Pham has reached base safely in his last 11 games against the Reds. Over a .500 on-base percentage. Runners at first and second. Nobody out. Here's Carpenter. The pickoff, and Fowler back in safely.
Barnhart, a good throwing catcher. Tough to steal against him, and got to be aware. And throwing behind the runner. Yeah, Dan, a lot of these, as I mentioned, that Romano is 19 games under .500 in his 7-year career. They usually pitch only about 5 innings, and even though the pitch count is right around 76, you know, you get a chance when they're late in the ball game. You got to jump on it. Particularly with the Reds bullpen. I mean, their middle relief is going to be problematic, but if they can get to, you know, their closer Iglesias, he's as good as anybody in the National League.
He's nasty.
Very nasty.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Carpenter. Tying run in scoring position. Cardinals just completed a 2-4 homestand. Just 18 runs scored in those 6 games. Mentioned earlier their issues here the last couple of days with runners in scoring position. Go back to Monday. They're 1 for the last 21.
Strikeouts have been a problem. Not so much tonight with just 3, and 1 by Waka, 1 by Carpenter, the other by Wong.
And Matt Carpenter trying to change that here. 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 runners on. The check on Fowler again. Marcell Ozuna, who homered back in the 3rd, a solo shot. He's on deck.
Young pitchers try and get it in his head when you're a base runner and try to disrupt his thought process with the plate.
Pham getting a pretty sizable lead. Ball in the gap. His speed might be able to score. The 2-1 pitch. Carpenter stays away. 3-1. This is where you'd like to say, and you know he's got a great eye, but let it rip. You know, I mean, Ozuna's on deck. You're going to get a pitch to hit. Let it rip.
You would think. But even with the count 3-1, look for it in a certain spot. If it's not there, take it. Even if it's a strike, if it's not in the zone you're looking for.
3-1 pitch. 3-2.
Inner half, he got a pitch. Got a good rip at it. 3rd time through the order. There's so many analytics departments say starters really have problems that 3rd time through the order, especially the younger guys.
Full count on Carpenter. Good speed on the base paths. Pham at first. Fowler at second. The 3-2 pitch. We'll do it again.
One of the reasons why pitchers have a hard time that 3rd time through the order is because they show every pitch in every at bat. And a lot of times, you know, you got nobody on base. You know, just throw like a sinker down and away. You know, if they get a base hit, it's going to probably be a single. But they show every pitch, and then they wonder when they get in a jam why the guy's looking for their out pitch or their best pitch. They've already seen it.
It's Austin Bryce, right-hander, starting to throw in the pen for Cincinnati. It's another 3-2 pitch to Carpenter. And instead, Romano steps off the mound.
I think that's good on Fowler's part, you know, to just try and edge off there, get into his head, make a careless pitch to the plate. Game could evolve on this 1 pitch.
Bases loaded for Marcell Ozuna. Romano, his 3rd walk. And last time up for Marcell Ozuna, the Nissan drive of the game. This long home run is 2nd as a Cardinal. He has driven in 8.
Romano got him out the first time with a couple men on, but he gets him there in a solo shot. Matt Jenkins, the pitching coach, out to talk to his young pitcher. Bases loaded, nobody out, and this is the reason, or this is one of the big things the Cardinals lacked a year ago. They didn't have anybody to put fear in the opposition. You'd have to go back to Pujols or Holiday in his prime, but everybody in the Reds uniform knows about what Osuna could do with this ball game, with this at bat.
Cincinnati with 4 mound visits remaining. Fowler reached on the air. Pham the base hit to center. Walk to Carpenter. They're all loaded up for Marcell Ozuna. Nowhere to put him. First pitch to Ozuna. A ball inside. We have seen sometimes when he guesses and guessing in, he'll open up that front shoulder and that leg, and he'll look to drive it off the scoreboard.
And just think, too, when you fall behind the count to him, then it becomes a little more predictable what he might see.
The 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike. His Souvenir down the right field line.
He hits a lot of balls up the middle. You know, in this case, he's looking at the very least for a sac fly. But make a mistake to him, and he can put it in the seats.
Michael Wacha, obviously an interested observer to this at bat, trailing 4-3. The 1-1 pitch to Marcell Ozuna. One and two.
Better breaking balls right there.
Might have been his best of the night.
Right, I think so. He's got a lot of fastballs up out over the middle of the plate.
The 1-2. 2-2.
He's gone slider, fastball, slider, slider. And all 3 sliders, or until the last one. The first 2 were balls, the last one was a strike. Fastball in.
The 2-2 pitch. They do, and he pulls it foul.
Slider again.
I still think when you watch Ozuna, Al, and we've seen him now enough, that he holds his hands in so tight, it's almost like he is daring you to pitch him inside.
And that's a very good observation. And pitchers are going to, you know, when you're doing that, Dan, more times than not, you don't get it far enough in. And if you don't get it far enough in this situation, it's a grand slam. Game changer.
2-2 pitch. Struck him out. Big strikeout for Romano with the bases loaded and now 1 out.
Credit to another good slider, and it's down. All good sliders are going to be down or off the plate. You know, now it's a pickup time for Jose Martinez. Pick up his teammate.
You get a 2-out base hit to right back in the first that scored a run and sent one to the top of the wall back in the third, and a catch by Phillip Ervin. Bases loaded and 1 out. Ball 1. Martinez does have a grand slam, and it happened at this ballpark. They shade him a bit to right center and near the line and right. He can turn on a ball, right, a lot of real estate in that area. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Jose Martinez. 2-0, trying to pound him in. Opponent average with men on base. You know, Mike Matheny has talked about that. Teams have tried to pound him in, go away, up the ladder, down. The uncanny ability to barrel up a ball, in particular with Jose Martinez. The 2-0. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Dan, you've got a hitter that's 6'7", and most of the time it just seems like they want to get their arms extended. You know, their arms are so long, and so you try and get in there, but he can hit.
Bases loaded, 2 balls, 1 strike. Cardinals down by a run. Pitch count up to 91 for Romano. Two and two.
They didn't like that last one, but let the fastball go by him in the strike zone.
Full count. Well, does he go back to a slider to see if he could chase, even though the bases are loaded, 3 and 2, or do you get the fastball?
You know, a lot of times a hitter, when he throws 2-2, he'll come back 3-2 with that same pitch. Slider struck out Osuna. You know, a hitter's going to say, I'm going to get a fastball here. You throw a good slider down, a lot of times they'll swing through it.
The 3-2 pitch with the bases loaded to Jose Martinez. Let's do it again.
Through the fastball. Now you saw Arnhart kind of step outside, hit his glove to kind of give the impression that that's where we want it, away, and then he sneaks back inside, which made me think, okay, it's a fastball. And sometimes with your peripheral vision you can see that, but if you're peeking, it's a good way to get yourself drilled in a situation with 2 outs and nobody on base. Peeking is not good for your health.
A 3-2 pitch inside, and this game is tied. Bases loaded walk for Jose Martinez, 4th in the game and the 2nd in this inning, and that'll be it. Brian Price will go to his pen with Yadier Molina coming up. The RBI for Martinez is 2nd of the night. He's up to 10 this year. It scores Dexter Fowler, who reached on the air from the shortstop Jose Peraza. And that's it for Sal Romano. Austin Bryce with the bases loaded. 1 out will face Yadier Molina when we come back. Lost last night's walk-off in Philly. 12th inning following a Scooter Gennett error. Chevy called to the pen. His numbers so far. He was part of the Dan Straley deal with Miami. Bases loaded. 1 out. And Yadier Molina. And the first pitch is strike.
You kind of looked at that Straley trade with the Marlins and you kind of said, well, how do you get rid of one of your better pitchers? But they did get some good arms, including Castillo, last night's starter. He's a hard thrower, young right-hander.
The 0-1 pitch to Yadier Molina. He is 1 for 2 tonight. 2-out RBI base hit to center in the first inning and also flied out to right. Bullpen ERA 5.95, and this has been a constant over the last handful of years. Issues in the bullpen for Cincinnati. Molina trying to break a 4-4 tie here in the top of the 5th. Inning started with a little bloop that Peraza could not handle. Charged with an error, his 2nd. Tommy Pham base hit to center. Carpenter walked. Ozuna struck out with the bases loaded. Martinez walked with the bases loaded. The 2-1 pitch. Molina and a double play ball. Gennett. Peraza. 2 ball. Weaver's last start very good. 6 1/3, a no decision against the Diamondbacks, and that's Adam Wainwright there. Mentioned that Wainwright, good start yesterday. The ERA was just over 3 in the 6-game homestand. So again, you talk about offense needs to get going. The pitching has been there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cardinals were 2-4. Remember last year they had a sub 500 record at home, and that was always a reliable place. It seemed like they'd win at least 50 games on the home. They got to turn that around and do that again this year, and they got to beat these clubs, second division type clubs like the rebuilding clubs.
The road caps are back tonight for the Cardinals. The dark road cap. Sometimes they'll go with the red.
And it depends on, in this case you wear blue because Cincinnati has red caps.
That's right. I'm a big fan of that cap right there.
Atta baby.
Along with Skyline Chili and Al, that's another commonly asked question for me about the caps. You get the red at home, dark on the road, and the Sunday cap at home.
Dolores Schroeder had never said that. Big Cardinals fan.
Nice play by Martinez off the bat of Jesse Winker for the out.
Let's look at this hard hit ball and just a nice little scoop by Martinez. Just played well over there at first base. And I think tomorrow I'm going to get you some Skyline Chili and I'm going to watch you eat it.
I'm good. Al, I'm good.
Look at that.
It's
Isn't
delicious.
That looks absolutely disgusting.
It looks delicious, but I'm going to pass.
No. You're going to eat it. I probably shouldn't do that because you'd get sick and then I'd have to be here with Jim.
Well, chili can be a little rough on a tummy, and you're the one that has to sit next to me all night.
Second thought.
That's pulled foul. Happy 50th anniversary to Carol and Gary Smith of Springfield, Missouri. Never miss a game. Happy 50th anniversary to Carol and Gary Smith. 1 ball, 1 strike on Scooter Gennett. Struck out. And with the bases loaded, singled to score 2. And that's Duvall who pops it up. And here comes Gennett. 30,000 fans on April 21st will take home the Dexter Fowler bobblehead, courtesy of AAA Insurance. Dexter's first gate giveaway at a Major League Baseball stadium. Don't want to miss out. That Saturday, April 21st. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
That bobblehead is the best likeness of a player I've ever seen.
Ever, huh?
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable how well they captured Dexter.
Are you happy with the hungo?
I'm ecstatic. I gotta be honest.
It's not quite to the likeness that you would prefer, but yet you approve.
Definitely. I was honored. So is Dexter. Like you said, he's really excited about that giveaway.
Fans may think we're kidding just to promote the event.
Right.
He is fired up. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Gennett slaps it the other way and foul. It was on the commercial shoot in which he saw it for the first time. He said, man, this really looks like me.
It does. And of course, Leah, his wife, is doing some social media stuff with the Cardinals.
Here's the 0-2.
Here's Dan McNeil talking about it, where said a lot of times they'll help rewrite it or write it for, get the thoughts of a spouse. But they said, nope, she writes it all herself and does an outstanding job.
Miles Michaelis has done that for Cardinals Magazine as well. His wife has jumped in to talk about their journey overseas. And a ground ball that stays fair, and Martinez steps on the bag. A 1-2-3 inning for Michael Wacha. We're through 5 and it's 4-4. Here's Paul DeYoung. 0 for 2, fly to right, grounded out to short. The fastball taken outside.
See if the Cardinals can't do something here at the bottom of the order now. Third up is Waka, so you know they got the bullpen active, but it may take him out either way.
Austin Bryce. As you get a look at Brebbia getting loose, Bryce came in bases loaded and only one out with Molina up. Hard hit ground ball, but it turned into a double play. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Paul DeYoung. Was talking with Brian Finch the other day of Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum, and they have had a record number of votes come in. The ballot of the Hall of Fame, which ends tonight at midnight at cardinals.com/HOF.
Did give you an indication who's leading?
He did not.
Well, it's good to hear though that they're having a record amount, and I'm sure every year it's going to keep on growing. So they become accustomed.
My guess is that Langford will get in. I think there's been a groundswell of support, me included, that Ray Langford should be in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. After that, anybody's guess.
I will go on record and say every one of them deserve to go into the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and they all probably will it so eventually. It's hard to take more than 100 years of history and start doing this for what, third year? Fourth year, something like that.
Paul DeYoung jumps on that pitch. Way out of here. Way to bust out of it, Paulie. Into the second deck. Long home run, number 4 for Paul DeYoung.
Came out of his shoes, didn't he? Woo! And that's not only in the second deck, but that's left center. So a long home run. And there was no question when that left the bat. That'll make you feel a little better. Hopefully it makes a winner out of Michael Wacha. 94, but there's that ball out over the plate, up in the zone. You can see how far it goes in the upper deck. Went above the first walkway.
Haven't seen many get that far up there.
I've seen a couple even land on the pilot house, in dead center field, but that may be the longest one I've seen in that area.
It was 110 miles per hour off the bat as Wong chops it to the right side. Fair ball, and Duvall steps on the bag. 464 feet. The estimated distance of the home run.
And Bader is going to hit for Wacha. When you're talking about Danny, and there's a great example of people trying to pitch him inside. Don't get it inside far enough. Leave it out over the middle of the plate. And he's aware of them trying to pitch it. But boy, his eyes lit up. He jumped at that ball and got the arms extended.
And that's why even with his struggles, he's dangerous.
He's dangerous, absolutely.
So that's it for Michael Wacha, and here's Harrison Bader, the pinch hitter. I look at Paul DeYoung as being the prototypical 2018 player, meaning streaky, hits home runs, and strikes out a lot. And with the strikeouts, you're okay with it because
it produces
the home runs. Here's a 1-1, and Bader pulls it foul. You were wondering about the Cardinals Hall of Fame. This is year 5.
Year 5.
First class was in 2014. One ball and 2 strikes. All 6 of his RBI this year for DeYoung have come via the home run. And that does hit Bader. So he's hit by the pitch.
Bader kind of beating himself up a little bit, feeling like he should have caught that home run in right field.
The Reds want to know if that's a swing, and Angel Hernandez said he did not go around. So Bader hit by the pitch.
I think they're checking it to see. And it definitely looked like fingers, and they're going to check it. Always worry about these balls that get hit on the hand. The Reds know all about it too, with two of their big weapons out.
Here comes a double switch from Brian Price. So Bader hit by the pitch. Adam Olson, the Cardinals medical team, checking on him. Amir Garrett has been getting loose. We saw him as a starter last year and pitched well against the Cardinals early season.
Saw his major league debut, right? He was unbelievable. Very good in that outing.
That'll be it for Bryce. 5-4 Cardinals after the home run by Paul DeJong. Is out. And so Amir Garrett will go into the 4th spot in the lineup. Gosselin the 9th spot. Amir Garrett working out of the pen now. 6 innings, a 0 ERA. Our Chevy called to the pen. That'll turn around Dexter Fowler. Fowler 1 for 7 against this lefty.
Still looking for his first right-handed hit this year. 0 for 10.
You may remember the story of Amir Garrett. He was a basketball player at St. John's, and when he was coming out of high school, 68th best recruit in the country, the 21st best small forward. There's all kinds of YouTube videos of Garrett dunking, and a terrific athlete. He's 25, big guy from Victoriaville, California. Fowler is 1 for 3 and a check on Bader. Threat to steal, no doubt. 5-4 Cardinals, and it was Dexter Fowler started a 5th inning rally, reaching on an error by Jose Peraza, came around to score, and a bases loaded walk issued to Jose Martinez. Fowler, base hit. Bader to second base.
Come against the Reds, and normally they have a very good offense, and they've got two of their big bats on the disabled list, and Botto not playing. See, he pulls this one through the left side. But you come in with the mindset that you're going to have to outslug them, and this is kind of the type of game that you're going to play against them. You're going to have to score some runs, and you can against their pitching staff. Don't let up.
Tommy Pham, base hit into right field. Bader started going back to second base to make sure that that was not caught. And again, the bases are loaded here for the Cardinals.
Tommy 2 for 4 now. Puts his last 2 times up. Pitch away from him. Good piece of hitting. Shatters it right off the end of the bat. Splits it in half and gets a base hit. He said Bader had to go back from his angle. He couldn't tell if that was going to be caught or not. So he only advances 90 feet. But with just 1 out, Matt Carpenter's in a great spot to pad the lead.
He's 0 for 4 with a couple of walks and a strikeout against Garrett. 2 walks tonight with a strikeout and a run scored. What an opportunity here for the Cardinals. Top of the 6th, 1 out, bases loaded. First pitch is strike. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Matt. Inning started with a solo home run by DeYoung. Long grounded out. Bader hit by a pitch. Back-to-back singles. Fowler and Pham loaded up here for Carpenter. He has been one of the best in all of baseball. 21 for 39 when the bases are loaded. The 1-1. Now you'd have to think that's a byproduct of him being so selective, going deep into counts, and knowing pitchers have to give him a pitch to hit.
We talk about it all the time. If you're patient, you're going to get a pitch to hit. The question is whether you can do something with that pitch. But he really does work the count.
And the 1-2 pitch. Strikeout of Carpenter. He throws him. Well, the Cardinals twice tonight have had either Ozuna or Carpenter up. Nobody out, 1 out, and both have struck out.
Today's game, a lot of hitters, you know, they're guess hitters, and there's an indication there, the guessing and guessed wrong.
Now Ozuna. Solo home run back in the 3rd. 1 for 3 tonight. And ball 1. Chance to bust this game wide open for the Cardinals, leading by 1. Outfield is straight away and deep. Good speed on the bases too. Two balls and no strikes. Three and 0, and you know he's got the green light.
Danny, in your playing days, what count did you like to hit?
Anything I thought I might be able to.
I mean, some guys don't like 3 and 0. It seemed like everybody should love 3-1.
You bet. And you?
I like
it's hard not to like this.
Yeah,
huh?
I liked any time I was ahead in the count.
Sure.
But, 3-1. And then tried to hit the ball the opposite field. But as long as I did that, I had a chance.
3-1 pitch. Ozuna lines it foul. Interesting how Ozuna holds the bat. Some guys on top of the knob, others now see it more and more where they're either down on the knob or the pinky finger below it.
Very few will choke up.
Yep. 3-2 pitch. Ozuna hits it up the middle. Diving stop. And out at first. The Cardinals will take a look at this. What a play by Jeanette if the play holds up. That saves a couple of runs. We'll see if the Cardinals want a review.
I thought he was out.
This is a huge decision one way or another. Yep. Absolutely.
Why not
Let's
just
challenge.
late in the game?
Yep. You know, something about that play that the only player on the field that picked up on it was Barnhart. But if you're the runner at second, continue to run through third.
Very good point. Very good. It's like you say, you know, if you take off and just keep on going home, because everybody thinks it's the third out, they're going to the dugout. They might be able to steal a run.
And then there's the decision of the high home angle as to whether or not to award that base runner home plate. Take a look here. I think the only question would be, was his foot on the bag, but the throw, it looked like it beat him.
Sure looks like he does stay on it. But and then immediately you saw Osuna put his hands up, but you don't see Ollie Marmol, the first base coach for the Cardinals, didn't react either way. And this late, you know, in a ball game, it's not that, may not be that big of a deal if you lose your challenge. You can ask for an umpire review later on.
I think the throw, there's no question that beat him. Just whether or not they have a better angle to see whether the foot was still on the bag.
Watch on the big screen, and that's exactly what you got to look at. The throw does beat him, but is the foot still on the bag?
So the out and maybe a game-saving play by Scooter Gennett. Cardinals can't cash in with the bases loaded. And to hold this one-run lead.
Waka had a little control problems. He walked 3 in this ball game, strikes out 5. Does allow 4 runs, but 3 of those 4 are earned, and he's in position for a victory with the Cardinals having a 5-4 lead, and Brebbia will take over.
So Chevy called to the pen. John Brebbia, Sunday against Arizona, 1 inning, 15 pitches, did strike out a man. It's Phillip Ervin, Tucker Barnhart, Alex Blandino. And the first pitch is strike. Going 2.
The other day you were doing a game with Tim McCarver, and Tim said that Brebbia made his debut last year on May 28th and still pitched in 50 ball games. You know, I knew he was used an awful lot, but I didn't think 50, and missing basically the first 2 months, but very reliable last year.
Anyways, he helped save the season for the Cardinals.
Very.
Look at that. Good fastball at 96. Strikeout for Brebbia.
Couple years in independent ball, kind of nobody knew about him from the major league staff, you know, about him in the Cardinals minor league system. And then he shows up there late May, and we start seeing that 95, 96 with a good breaking ball. So where's this kid been?
It was late May in Colorado, and the Cardinals added Brebbia in the bullpen and Paul DeJong at shortstop. Here's a 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Appeared in 50 ball games. He didn't have a record, but a 2.44 ERA. Opponents hit just 193 against him.
A broken bat. A fly ball into right. Dexter Fowler catches it at his chest. I told the story before, but for those that missed it, I asked Dexter, why do you do that? Why do you catch the ball at your chest? And he said, it's something he has always done. He was a catcher as a young kid. His dad was the coach. He said, I was the only kid that could catch the ball and throw the ball. And I got used to catching the ball at my chest. They tried to change me when I went to Colorado to be more traditional with it. I was never comfortable with it. Sometimes would drop a ball. And he said, one thing you'll notice I always do, and he said, it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, which was interesting. He said, I always use two hands, and my bottom left thumb goes up. So it cups the ball, if you will. And he said a lot of times you're taught at this level not to catch with two hands, which is surprising for some, but to get the ball up and to catch the ball up with your glove there. But that's why he catches it at his chest.
Yeah. The second hand to keep it from popping out. I always thought the two hands because you're in a position to extract the ball and throw in one all in one motion.
Sure. Alex Blandino 0 for 2. Flied to right. Came up with the bases loaded and grounded out. That's it out of play. I don't know about you, but when he catches the ball like that at his chest, I worry. But that's just me.
Just trying to see if my wrist would go that way.
He's doing it a long time, so something's right. Fastball, and he struck him out. 2 strikeouts in the inning for John Brebbia. Home plate umpire Bill Miller. Get out of his way, too. Oh! 5-4 Cardinals. And ball 1 to Jose Martinez. Pair of RBIs tonight. Zach Weiss, major league debut from Irvine, California. Missed the 2016 season. Right elbow injury that led to surgery. Had to remove scar tissue. What a moment for any player. Major league debut.
An all-star in the Southern League. 2015 led all Reds minor leaguers with 30 saves, 32 chances that year.
The 2-0. Welcome to the big leagues. Martinez out of here. Line shot into left field. Well, now he has an ERA. 3rd home run this year.
It's infinity. Now he's just joined Ricky Horton.
Jose Martinez just helped the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri with an absolute bullet into the seats in left.
You and Ricky were talking about it recently. Look at this. This just a rocket off his bat. Good thing there was a seat there to stop it. But Ricky made his major league debut in San Francisco and served up a home run the very first batter he faced. I think it was a double after that, and then Whitey thought about taking all the married men off the infield.
You're awful.
That's what Whitey told me. See, Ricky. But I think Mr. Weiss would be very happy to have the career that Ricky Horton's had.
Absolutely. 114 miles per hour off the bat, 388 feet. Jose Martinez, big night. Without the catch from Phillip Ervin, it would be an even bigger night. That's the only time he's been retired. Yadier Molina with a drive into left field. Back to back. Long home run. Yadi's 4th. Back-to-back shots from Martinez and Molina. Yadier Molina just helped the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri.
A rude awakening right there. 2 blasts, 2 rockets. Look how far this ball goes up in that second deck, up over that the Kroger sign, the walkway.
Paul DeYoung is homered tonight. Molina, Martinez, and Ozuna.
You know, we were talking about Yachty before the game. When nobody on base, he just looks like he's just trying to jack the ball out. Men on base trying to go to the opposite field. And he's been doing it pretty nice. 4 home runs for Yachty. That was the 3rd home run for Martinez.
The 2-0 pitch. Now 3-0.
Paul DeYoung hit his 4th home run earlier in his last time up. That ties Yachty for the team lead.
Jose Martinez now with 14 driven in his career against Cincinnati, most of against any opponent, and a historic home run for Yadier Molina. Here's a 3-0. So 2 home runs, now a walk. Yadier Molina passes Lou Brock for 15th all-time. The Cardinals home run list, number 130.
Also remember, we showed the graphic that he has the highest batting average of any player in this ballpark. He's added to that 319 average with a 2-for-3 night, or 2-for-4 night.
I thought that was a great shot we just have of the you see the Cardinals entering tonight, what they've done in this situation, but the pitching coach Mac Jenkins had a little smile on his face, and it just looked like he went out there to say, okay, take a breath, it's going to be all right, you're here for a reason, we know you get people out, just relax.
Yeah, I mean, just you were saying you got to enjoy this. Well, it's not as enjoyable as he dreamt about it, but still, he's entered the record books as pitching in a major league game. Not many can say that.
Here's Colton Wong and a ball low. Good to see DeYoung draw a walk.
Yes.
Haven't seen many of those. Colton is 0 for 2 with a walk.
I think it's just his 2nd walk of the year.
2 balls, no strikes. Right now the Cardinals can smell blood with Weiss on the mound. Greg Garcia at the on-deck circle. And it's 3-0. So you're Brian Price, and you know this is a tough spot for him too. You want the young man to have some kind of success. You want him to get an out, but you don't want to get blown out of the game either.
Sure. You know, a lot of times everybody says, oh, you throw a guy right into the fire. You're actually doing a guy a favor, because if he does well, then you start building confidence in him. You know, if you have a game like Weiss, or at least the first 3 hitters, you kind of go, well, you know, look at, you got your feet wet, be better the next time.
3-1. And you know he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders right now, and nerves.
And you just hope has that tunnel vision to where you got the ears shut and you don't hear his hometown kind of derisive cheer.
And that's a walk. So back-to-back home runs, back-to-back walks, and that'll be it. Looks like it'll be another double switch. Tanner Rainey had been throwing in the bullpen for Cincinnati. So major league debut. Didn't go like he probably dreamt about it as a young man and a little kid. Back-to-back home runs. Martinez, Molina, back-to-back walks to DeYoung and Wong.
Let's hope that's not the way he dreamt it.
Wouldn't think so. So Chevy called to the pen. Rainey coming on when we come back. Home runs by tonight. Ozuna, DeYoung, Martinez, and Molina go back-to-back here in the 7th. Cliff Pennington, the new third baseman for the Reds. And Tanner Rainey pitched Tuesday night against the Phils, his line.
He was just promoted on Tuesday from Louisville. Took the place of Giovanni Gallardo. That's when he made his major league debut in the 8th inning.
The Reds now using their 5th pitcher in this game. Runners at first and second. Greg Garcia. And a pitch inside.
Dan, his Rainey's major league debut, he allowed all 4 runs with 2 outs on Kingery's first grand slam. 2 pretty tough debuts.
Molina's home run measured at 438 feet, by the way.
Oh, it went well up in that second deck.
The 2-0 pitch. 3-0. Fowler on deck. And the bases are loaded again for the Cardinals. Cardinals have received 7 walks and now 3 in a row. Still nobody out here in the top of the 7th.
Fatten your batting damages. Go out and punish them.
The crowd tonight, 11,128. 1-1, 1-2-8. Dexter Fowler looks at a strike. Dexter has been on base 3 times. 2 runs scored. Pair of base hits. And the owner of 3 career grand slams.
Rainey is 25 years of age. He was the 71st player selected in 2015 first-year player draft. Entered this year rated as Baseball America's 20th best prospect in the organization and 30th best by MLB.
Strike on the outside corner. It's the second time the Cardinals have had back-to-back home runs this year. Back on the 3rd against Milwaukee. They started the game with Fowler and Pham going deep. And tonight, Martinez and Molina back-to-back. The 1-2.
We don't want to talk about how that game ended.
With back-to-back home runs. First time ever.
By Milwaukee.
It had been a game that started with back-to-back and ended with back-to-back home runs. The 2-2 pitch. Fowler rips it foul. It's also been a game in which the Cardinals could have a bigger lead. This is the 3rd time they've had the bases loaded, and they had the middle of the lineup coming up earlier in the game. One point with Carpenter, another time with Ozuna.
Stranded 8 in the first 5 innings or first 6 innings of this game. So you're absolutely right.
And the 2-2. Pitch at 98 from Rainey. Bases loaded and a full count on Dexter Fowler. He walked him. 4 consecutive walks. An RBI for Fowler. Extends the lead to 8-4. So Rainey has come in and walked 2, and now Tommy Pham. First pitch to Tommy. And a strike. There has been a lot of talk around town about the future Brian Price. But he can't throw strikes. Can't get guys back that are healthy. I mean,
right. I mean, it's not his fault.
This has been a tough set of cards that he's trying to play.
They just don't have the depth either. You know, when you got so many injuries year after year after year in that pitching staff, and now a couple of their position players on the DL.
The 1-1 to Tommy Pham. Oof. Big swing and a miss, 1-2.
Kind of looking at Rainey's minor league stats, and in his history, he has walked an awful lot.
One ball and 2 strikes with the bases loaded. Good play by Barnhart to keep that in front.
I mentioned Barnhart got the Gold Glove last season. Good thrower, very good at blocking the balls. And I see Mesoraco in here just to save Barnhart. This keeps on going.
The 2-2 pitch with the bases loaded to Tommy Pham. And that goes now to 3-2. There's nobody throwing in the Reds pen, so this is Rainey all by himself. Cardinals 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position tonight. He's 1 ball away from his 3rd consecutive walk since entering the game. A 3-2 pitch, fouled back.
Guys have good rips too, aren't they?
Yep.
The Reds went 12 innings last night, in their loss in Philadelphia.
A 3-2 pitch to Pham. And it's another bases loaded walk. Four consecutive walks. 3 by Rainey since he came in the game. And Tommy Pham on base for the 3rd time. Now Carpenter with the bases loaded. Ball 1. It's 9-4 St. Louis. We have not seen a mound visit. Barnhart hasn't come out and tried to talk to his pitcher. And the loudest this place has been was moments ago to boo. Kevin Quackenbush is getting loose. He just got up to throw. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Can't locate their fastball. Then they're trying their secondary pitches and just up there aiming.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. 3-1. And Rainey can't find the strike zone, and he's dealing with a guy that
not going to help you.
Yeah, rarely if ever swings at a ball outside the strike zone.
And you know, if he throws one in the strike zone, you know what he's capable of doing.
Back-to-back home runs and then 5 consecutive walks. These fans are about ready to lose it. The 3-1 pitch. 3-2.
97, just easy gas. You see these guys, you know, Rainey's a big kid, 6'2", 235, plus arm. But, you know, it's a radar gun arm. Oh, he can throw 98.
A 3-2 pitch. Carpenter with a high fly ball lifted out to center. Hamilton backs up to make the catch. 2 runners will tag up. Fowler on his way to third. Scoring Greg Garcia to make it a 10-4 St. Louis lead. RBI for Carpenter, his 7th this year. The 9th man to come to the dish this inning is Marcell Ozuna.
Close the book now on Weiss. 4 batters, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 2 home runs allowed, 2 walks. Ouch.
Runners at first and third. Ozuna a solo home run back in the third. And strike 1. Marcell Ozuna has yet to walk this year. .294 this season with runners in scoring position.
Well, when you look at Pham and Carpenter, the only ones that have accepted some walks. Everybody else is down.
0-2 the count. Going back to 1974, as far as we could check, Zach Weiss, back-to-back home runs, his debut. Danny Rios did that, and Sandy Rosario. The only other 2. Rosario was pitching at Milwaukee. Rios was with Boston. Here's the 0-2 pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And like I said, Rainey, when he came in the 8th inning on Tuesday at Philadelphia, his major league debut, he allowed all 4 runs with 2 outs on a Kingery first grand slam.
Cardinals have received for them a season high 9 walks. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Ozuna. Fights it off, and the catch is made in foul territory. This inning began with a Jose Martinez home run. He'll bat for the 2nd time here in the 7th. Big night for Martinez, a 2-out RBI single. That was in the 1st. Sent one to the wall in the 3rd. RBI bases loaded walk in the 5th. And then this home run, a screamer into the seats.
Did you say that? 114 miles?
114 miles per hour. Ball 1.
Notice that too. This year, it seems like all of the exit velocities have been up.
Harder throwers in the game, stronger players. Probably something to do with it. The 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the 1-1. Barnhart has been busy and has done what has been a nightmarish night for the Reds. To me, he has stood out with his defense. Now, there's nothing he can do about the 9 walks, but he's still in the game, down by 6, and just saved a run. The 2-1 pitch. My point being, it'd be easy to say, well, I'll just backhand this ball and it goes off the heel of the glove, but he's down there trying to block it.
Yeah, that's why he won a Gold Glove last year.
You bet. Two balls and 2 strikes. Martinez lifts a fly ball into right. This should do it. Irvin. Oh, he can't make the catch. A run will score. Here comes another. Martinez to second. And the nightmare continues for the Reds.
It's one of those balls, Dan, that, you know, coming off the bat of a right-hand hitter, is going to keep on slicing away from Irvin. And boy, as you said, just a nightmarish inning just continues. They scored a base hit. You can see him walking off. Martinez. Give Tommy Pham some credit too, scoring all the way from first base. He didn't give up on the play.
Wow. So it scored a double, as Al mentioned, and here's Molina for the second time. It's now 12-4.
4 RBIs for Martinez.
3. Check that. It's a 5 RBI night. We had 1 in the first, bases loaded walk in the 5th, the home run here in the 7th, and now a double that scores 2. Unbelievable.
Let me put my socks back on.
I don't blame you. I mean, they should be out of the inning. 0-2 the count on Molina. This would seem to be the perfect time for a Mike Myers appearance. Back up in the big leagues, big lead.
Good point.
Extended innings if you needed them.
Brian Price might ask if he can borrow a pitcher from Mike Matheny.
You may see a position player before this game is through. Here's the 0-2. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes on Yadier Molina.
Dan, are you going to use Votto?
I'm not as worried about a late inning threat as I once was.
No, but I mean, all they got left is Mesoraco, their backup catcher, and Votto on the bench.
Yeah. 2 double switches in this game. And the 1-2 pitch. Molina grounds it to short. Take in this crowd. Started with Jose Martinez. Then Yadier Molina. A 7-run St. Louis inning. 12-4 I score. Time to stretch. Career high 5 driven in by Jose Martinez. You had the Ozuna home run. Billy Hamilton on the other side. Couple of runs scored. Scooter Gennett 1 for 3. He's driven in 2. A 7-run ugly inning for the Reds, both pitching and defensively. And it's led to a 12-4 St. Louis lead. Greg Garcia walked and scored, stays in the game at third base. And Francisco Pena is the new catcher for the Cardinals. And a new pitcher is Mike Myers.
You called it. Perfect opportunity to get Yadi and Carp a little rest. By the way, Francisco Pena did a good job while he was in the couple games and finished up that one game. Myers, perfect opportunity for him to just relax. Let him get a couple innings, you know, maybe 3 innings and get a 3-inning save.
That'll help. 1 pitch, 1 out. So Chevy called to the pen Mike Myers. Remember early on in spring training he was stretched out too. So the idea, if it works out at times, is that if you need a long man, here's your guy. Well, here's a perfect way to save your bullpen.
It absolutely is. I mean, I don't know how, if they feel like he's stretched out, because it, you know, it takes you weeks to get in shape and takes you a few weeks to get out of shape. Remember, he pitched opening day and then he didn't pitch until what, 10 days later. Got a second appearance, then got sent out on Monday. Bring in Holland, and now recalled. People might say, I thought you had to stay down 10 days. Well, you do, unless there's an injury. And with Tui Valala going on the disabled list, they're able to bring Myers back short of that 10-day period.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Billy Hamilton. I was at spring training from day 1, and people would ask me about the most impressive players in camp. And without hesitation, one of them you know, 1, 2, maybe 3 was Mike Myers.
First time I saw Ricky Horton, he was raving about Myers and how moving to the bullpen just changed the mental attitude.
Look at that tight break.
And the tight breaking ball, you know, the slider was just, you know, but it was just between his ears, Danny, that all of a sudden he decided that, okay, I put my pants leg on just like these other guys. I belong in the big leagues.
1-2 pitch. Did not go. That's Alan Porter, the third base umpire. 2-2 the count. With the move to the bullpen, and it's not surprising, but an increase in velocity too.
Sure. You know, you go out there and you're going for short stints so you can air it out.
Put in play by Hamilton, gloved by DeYoung, quickly to Martinez. Cody Reed is up and throwing for Cincinnati in their bullpen. Reed, by the way, is scheduled to pitch Saturday against the Cardinals as their starter.
Yeah, that's what I saw that. You just wonder if they have to make another move just to
no doubt
come up with another starter.
Here's Jose Peraza. Well, Mike Myers knows about making a major league debut and struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that against the Dodgers on a Sunday night, nationally televised audience, and so he's been through what Zach Weiss just went through. That's ripped down the left field line, and extra bases for Peraza. Dug out by Ozuna, and a 2-out double. Peraza with 3 hits. Plaza Tire Service, Fox Tracks.
Pena set up there, the ball coming in on him, and he just clears his hips and pulls the ball down the corner. His second double, and as you said, his third hit. In between was that bunt single.
Two outs, runner at second base. Jesse Winker at the plate. Now, you mentioned it earlier. You got teams that are ones that consider themselves in contention. And it seems like there is no middle ground in baseball. There's those that, you know, when you watch them, this is a rebuild. And others you say, all right, I can see what they're doing here. They got a shot. Things go the right way. But I would imagine this start for Brian Price and the front office and the fans, not what they envision, clearly. And it could be a long year here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, if they go on to lose this ball game, they'd be 2-10. They came in with an ERA over 5.5, and boy, this game's got to push it up there close to 6, if not over.
The 2-1 pitch with 2 outs and a runner at second base. 2-2, that at 96. I'm sure a lot of franchises have looked at what Chicago did, Houston did. Hey, let's draft high, make sure we don't miss. If we have sellable parts, let's do that.
Bob Nightingale's article
popped up. Garcia over and out of room.
You know, talking about teams that, for lack of another word, tanking, or other clubs in the we talked about it, about the Reds' #1 prospect. You don't bring one of your best 25 north with you because you're trying to get an extra year by waiting a couple weeks or a month into the season. Then you can have that player, you know, have another year of service time. You know, is that fair to your fans? It's a tough call.
Is it fair to the game in general?
Yeah. I mean, it's been I think it's being carried to an extreme where clubs are acknowledging that they are, deliberately trying to get the higher draft choices.
And we should say this. I mean, it is early. You don't know about the Reds. They get Schebler back. They get Votto in a lineup. You get some others.
Suarez.
It's
Duvall's not hitting.
Right.
Votto's out of lineup.
But this has been a tough look tonight. The debuts, the walks, the misplaying right, the fact that you only have 2 wins in this kind of start.
And then on the other side of it, it makes you appreciate the Cardinals all the more that, they're always trying to win. They're always pretty much in the top division, so they're not getting that first or second draft pick. They're more getting 25 and above.
3-2 pitch to Jesse Winker. Fly ball down. He called to the pen. What the Reds, and I'm just thinking outside the box, could do. Brandon Finnegan made a start 3 days ago, and he's not that far away. So if they needed to bring him up and activate him, they could do that and have him make the start on Saturday. 0-2 on Paul DeYoung.
Not really knowing, could switch their Sunday pitcher with Saturday, but like you said, your option is probably more viable.
And a strikeout of DeYoung. That's how we start the 8th inning. Gold Long with a pair of base hits. The Plaza Tire Service replay. That's it out of play.
Cody Reed was one of the 3 left-handers that Cincinnati acquired in the Johnny Cueto deal. Finnegan another one, and then John Lamb. I'm not sure what's happened to him.
It's a ball and a strike on the Cardinals' second baseman. 1 run scored tonight. Been on base 8 times in the last 5 games.
Reed spent most of last season at Louisville, and hitters got to be a little uneasy in the box as he led the International League in hit batters, wild pitches, and 3rd in walks.
Now to start this year across Major League Baseball, most hit batters seen to start a year. It's on pace to shatter the all-time record for hit batsmen. Now clearly it's early, but that's just one of the trends happening right now. It's tapped out in front of the plate. Barnhart. Oh my goodness, it's dropped. Gosselin dropped it. This will be the 3rd error on the Reds tonight. Oh boy.
Now Barnhart just bounces out, pounces on this ball, throws a strike to his first baseman right there. Chest high, right in the middle of the glove, and can't hold on to it.
Brian Price is going to argue that Wong was out of the baseline, I believe. It's a line that is there. It's been in baseball forever. But what's one of the interesting things is that you can run on the grass of the baseline. I talked to a rules expert this year about that. You basically have 3 feet on either side. And once you distinguish your line of going to first base, think about going 3 feet either side. That is the rule.
You do not have to grass.
You can be there. You do not have to stay in the baseline, meaning that box or that the 2 lines, that lane going to first base. And it's commonly misconstrued that
as long as you don't deviate.
Yeah, once you
establish,
you make that line, you can stay there, and that's a common misconception in baseball, that you have to stay in that runner's lane. That line is there, and it has no purpose, to be honest with you.
Well, and every right-handed batter, when they take off, they almost are forced to start on the grass.
And the baseball expert that I talked to, literally, he goes to every team and has a seminar for them. It's exactly what he says. Right-handed batters, what are you going to do? Hit the ball, then take 1 step to your right and go up the lane?
Yeah,
you can't do it.
Start, your momentum's going to carry you right under the grass.
Now Greg Garcia. And he lifts a fly ball to center field. Reminder that Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By the new Cholula Battery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family, only a Jack in the Box, and by Ford, going further so you can. Here's Dexter Fowler with 2 outs.
You're talking about more hit batsmen. Well, the game's evolved in home runs and strikeouts. And I would think pitchers, instead of trying to, trying to get inside, trying not to get out the sweet part or barrel the bat,
throw in,
are going further in and just don't have the command.
It's on pace to just obliterate the all-time record.
And you could see, just like last week, or I guess earlier this week in the series against Philadelphia, is when Schebler and Suarez both were injured being hit by pitches.
Look at the banks of the Ohio in the great American ballpark. 12-4 Cardinals. Entering tonight, but the Cardinals with 7 runs in the 7th. That's changing quickly. Here's Pennington. Last year with the Angels, hit .253 in 87 games. Just to further my point about hit by pitches, the 1940s, there was a hit by pitch just about once every 4 games. So far, we have nearly 1 per game this year. I do have a theory, by the way. I'm not sure if you're going to agree with it or not, but I
wanted to hear it first.
I think the inclement weather and
sure,
pitchers not being able to grip the baseball, maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean that definitely would have something to do with it.
But I also agree that more and more, I think we're seeing pitching inside and up, and guys losing command of a fastball that's 95 plus.
And here's another aspect coming from a pitcher, Danny, is guys are not accustomed to being pitched inside, and they are diving across the plate. They don't think about a fear of being hit. In my era, pitchers could intimidate hitters. Today, hitters intimidate pitchers, and part of it is the umpiring trying to avoid situations. Don't allow you. They don't rarely they'll call that pitch inside, but we always talk about lack of fastball command.
And a swing and a miss. Good work so far by Myers. First strikeout tonight after a scoreless 7th inning.
I would love to see him pitch all 3 innings and get a chance to get a save and be efficient in it. But the only thing I would also maybe think about is calling down and asking Greg Holland, do you want another inning? You want to go back-to-back days today? Now, maybe it would preclude you from bringing him in tomorrow, but you may not want to bring him in a close game anyway tomorrow. So you're still trying to get him in. But if he says no, I feel like I'm good. I know I can throw strikes. I'd love to see Myers get a chance to get a save.
There's a ground ball that's hit to second. I could see both ways too. I would say definitely if he comes in tonight, off limits tomorrow, that'd be 3 days in a row. However, use a 12-4 major league game almost as a spring training appearance.
Right.
It's another way to look at it too.
Yeah, I mean it would be how much does Mike Matheny and Mike Maddox and also Greg Holland believe he's close to being able to take over that 9th inning.
A ball low and outside. 12-4 our score. 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Phillip Ervin at the plate. How tight that breaking ball has been tonight.
Yeah, it's just, he's got his confidence. He feels like he belongs here. He's acted like it, and he's pitched like it also.
It's sharply and in and out of the glove of Paul DeYoung. .105 off the bat. Miles per hour.
These baseballs have no stickum on them because they can't land in a glove.
Ball may have knuckled too a little bit.
Yeah, and line drive like that, and might have thought it was going to land higher.
Fielder's indifference. Ervin to second base. And that's tap foul.
Like it broke his bat, didn't it?
It did.
Maybe he wants to hit with one broken.
Cardinals needed a game like this.
Yes.
A lot of tight games that they played early on. 1-run games.
Yeah, the Cardinals last year had a sub 500 record at home. They've gotten off to a bad start there, but sometimes it's good to go play a lot of games on the road and come together as a team.
2 balls and 1 strike. And a walk.
That's what you can't do.
Devin Mesoraco will be the pinch hitter. So left on the bench for the Reds, Joey Votto.
I don't think he's going to pitch this game. Strike zone getting a little tight again. As Rocco just really missed a lot of time the last several years and hip injuries.
One ball and 2 strikes. With 2 runners on here in the bottom of the 8th. Did not go. 2-2. Myers up to 36 pitches on the night. Plaza Tire Service replay.
That pitch more times than not, you'll get a call.
2-2. That's fouled back. Outfield is straight away, and the 2-2. Another good pitch by Myers that Mesoraco stays away from. Runners off with this pitch, and the 3-2. That time he got him. Strikeout for Myers, 2 in the inning. And the 9th inning coming up. Players of the game. Marcell Ozuna. Paul DeJong, long home run. Back-to-back, Jose Martinez. And then Yadier Molina. The Budweiser plays of the game.
You're talking about getting the top of the order on base. It was like 4, 5, 6, and 7 all hit home runs. And yes, that's Cliff Pennington, position player playing on the mound. Mesoraco will stay in the game. He plays first base, which that's where Pennington had entered the game. And that's our Chevy call the bullpen, Dan.
I was watching him warm up. He's throwing that knuckleball.
Oh, yeah. Infielders all have knuckleballs. Pitchers don't. You know what you do, though, Dan? You watch him, you know, he's smiling. He's you know, they all love to, they all think this is great. I mean, they understand the circumstance. You're losing. It's not fun for your pitching staff, but you get a chance to pitch.
85 from Cliff Pennington.
And what you do is you walk up to him afterward and say, remember, there's no screen in front of you. And then they'll throw a pitch and start backpedaling.
Cliff Pennington, the infielder, now on the mound, and the 1-1. Inside, 88 from Pennington.
You know, Tommy Pham's not going to throw away this at bat.
Pennington has never made a appearance as a pitcher. That's fouled back, and it's 2-2. I like his pace. I'll tell you that. Gets the ball and he goes.
Getting warmed up.
Hey, that's not too shabby.
No.
It's pretty good. 3-2 pitch inside to Pham, and he draws a walk. So Tommy Pham on base for the 4th time tonight. Two walks, bases loaded walk back in the 7th inning for Tommy Pham. Had a single to right, single to center. And this will be Francisco Pena. Made the start yesterday with Molina serving his 1-game suspension. And a strike. The son of Tony Pena, Francisco. High fly ball. Lifted into left. That'll stay in the ballpark as the catch is made in front of the track, and Pham stays put at first. There's Marcell Ozuna. It's not on some of the reference sites that we go to, but apparently in Game 4 of the 2015 ALCS. So it wasn't on regular season play, but Pennington pitched for Toronto against Kansas City, the first position player ever to pitch in a postseason game.
Post-game, yeah. I mean,
I just got a text from our buddy Brad Thompson. He'll be working some of the games this year, and he said, I'm sick of seeing position players that throw harder than I did. He's not happy about this.
different era.
The 2-1 now upcoming to Marcell Ozuna.
See, we wouldn't have said that about Brad.
Brad will say that about Brad. Then we can say it about Brad. Ozuna hits it softly to short. Out number 2. Next telecast will be tomorrow, game 2 of the series. And we'll come your way at 5. The pregame show, 5:40 St. Louis time, the first pitch. And what a night it has been for Jose Martinez. 4 times on base and a triple away from the cycle. A single in the first. Bases loaded walk in the 5th. Home run in the 7th. Double in the 7th. Cardinals batted around. 0-2.
That was like last year when Scooter Gennett had the 3 home runs, came up again, and you go, you got to go for it, and got it.
Did it with 2 strikes, I think.
Right, I think so. You know, first 2 looked like he swung from, you know, came out of his shoes swinging at it, and he got a little more controlled and hit it out. So Whittington, Mark Whitten, you know, with the old stadium, Three Rivers, or not Three Rivers, Riverfront.
That's ripped into the corner. Another base hit for Jose Martinez. He's on his way to second base with an RBI double. What a night for Martinez. 4 hits, 2 doubles, a single, a home run, and he has driven in with that now 6 tonight. First career 4-hit game, first 6 RBI night for Jose Martinez.
Boy, he's hit the ball with authority. 2 doubles. He's got the home run, a single, and a walk with the bases loaded.
Mike Myers will stay in the game, and he's already had 2 scoreless innings on the mound. Last Cardinal with 6 driven in was Matt Carpenter back in 2016. That's it out of play. 2-2 the count on Mike Myers.
Something about this ballpark for Jose Martinez. His career high in RBIs was right here at this ballpark, 4. Did that last year in August, and he's got 6 RBIs tonight.
It's the first ever major league appearance at the plate for Mike Myers. 13-4 our score, and he draws a walk.
It's also Martinez is a career high in hits with 4 tonight.
Here's Paul DeYoung with runners at first and second.
Got 12 walks and a hit batter. Cardinals received.
.24 pitches now for Pennington. Brian Price on a serious level here. You do get a little concerned when a position player is out there and you don't want to see anybody get hurt. Here's a guy that will help this team off the bench. 3-0 on DeYoung.
Usually they don't try, you know, as hard, you know, they're trying to throw strikes. Try to get you out, but they're trying to trick you more.
DeYoung hits it down the left field line. It's hooking and just foul.
Like we said, these bats count, so try and make the most of them. There's no hitter that's going up there trying to make an out.
DeYoung had a solo home run in the 6th inning. Walked and scored in the 7th. When he hits them, they come in bunches. He strikes out. All Cardinals here in game 1. Mike Myers' 3rd inning, 13-4, as we move to the bottom of the 9th here at the Great American Ballpark. Cardinals, if they can hold on, would go to 6-7. This would drop the Reds to 2-10 to start their year. What will get lost in this game with Martinez and what he did, and batting around in the 7th and the back-to-back home runs, but a tight game at the time, and the work of John Brebbia with a scoreless inning and a pair of strikeouts in a 1-run game at that time.
Yeah, very good point. Did his job. We saw him do it all last year.
There's Phil Gosselin. And a strike.
The save rules have changed over the years. And I remember playing in Kansas City and had a reliever that came in and threw 3 innings, and at that time you had an official scorer had to determine whether you pitched effectively, and he pitched 3 innings. He gave up a solo home run and was not given a save because the official scorer said he wasn't effective.
Martinez to Myers to the bag. And so the idea now, 3 innings like this that Myers is putting together, and it's a different look at what constitutes a save.
Oh, it's just, you know, anytime if you come in and throw 3 innings and don't give up the lead, you're credited with a save today. You can also come in and, you know, with a 3-run lead and just pitch the 1 inning, give up 2 runs and still get a save because you didn't give up the lead.
Billy Hamilton. And the 1-0 pitch to the Reds leadoff man. Ground ball that's hit to second, taken by Colt Long. That's out number 2.
Myers 1 out away from picking up his first major league save. You know, you carry 8 relievers, and in the case of the Reds tonight, it wasn't enough, but they didn't want to waste any of their late inning guys, so they want to save all of them for the rest of the series.
And obviously this is the most that Myers has thrown in a relief appearance. This will be pitch number 46 coming up.
A big role, and I mean, he's winning a lot of brownie points with his manager too.
And the 0-1 to Jose Peraza, lined into the gap in right center. Pham over, diving, and makes the catch, and the game ends with a terrific play by Tommy Pham in right center.
To have that kind of a play and a 13-4 score just shows you how Tommy Pham's got his head in every game. You know, center fielder really closed on that gap, makes a nice, brilliant play to end the game. And I mean, the concentration to make plays like this when you're in such a lopsided game. Nice going, Tommy Pham. Nice going, Cardinal offense.